think 3 and Y could probably do 3 or 4 million. I had to lay down the law and say, like, that radar's coming out, man. The sheer amount of work required to do this boggles the mind.
Yeah.
And to the best of my knowledge, I asked the team, like, do we know of anyone who is even trying to follow in our footsteps? We don't know of anyone. Maybe there is someone, but I've seen a lot of tough technology problems, and solving real-world AI such that a car can drive itself is one of the hardest problems I've ever seen. And it is way harder than I originally thought, by far. I mean, Tesla's actually, going to be in a situation where Tesla has a self-driving solution and no one else is even close, not even for 5 years. I mean, frankly, a bunch of the pieces trashing Tesla, especially like 2017 through 2019, the press was just a non-stop hate stream. It was like, hate, like, Tesla's a fraud, Tesla's a failure, Tesla's a fraudulent failure. Tesla, they were like, thumbing through the thesaurus for like bad words to use. The Tesla Autopilot software AI team is like the best software team I've ever worked with. I'm a harsh judge of technical skill, and they are outstanding. It will need to slap them in the face, like, baff, baff. It has to be taking sales away from them.
In this video, loads of incredibly juicy insights from Elon Musk that every single Tesla stock investor needs to know. So let's get into it. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoy these videos, there's a bunch of ways you can support the channel, access exclusive content and perks. Check out the links in the pinned comment below. If you want to take it to the next level, join thousands of members on Patreon to gain exclusive access to over 100 Q&A videos, loads of exclusive content, exclusive access to my up-to-date 10-year Tesla stock price targets, and even access my Tesla valuation model at the investor support level and above. You can also pick up some Tesla, Elon, and investment theme merch in the merch store. So check out the links in the pinned comment below, and thanks for your support. So, if you're a Tesla stock investor, make abso-fucking-lutely sure you are paying very close attention and ready to rewind and take a few notes along the way. If you read between the lines and take the time to let the implications of Elon's comments sink in, you'll find this video to be some of the most compelling, insightful, and important in terms of providing additional context and really understanding where Tesla is at versus the so-called competition than just about anything else we've seen. So let's get into it.
And we're our own worst enemy in adding complexity. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, the Model S and X we're doing them not because they are huge money owners, but really for sentimental reasons. At full output, we're talking about 100,000 cars a year for S and X. But 3 and Y will do, I don't know, 2 million plus. It's like 10x more, frankly. I think 3 and Y could probably do 3 or 4 million.
So, were you paying attention? Were you really paying attention? Elon Musk said that he believes that the Tesla Model 3 and Y combined could do around 4 million units per year. The world's best-selling vehicle model today does about 1 million units per year. And for the record, I also believe that the combination of 3 and Y is going to skew at least 2/3, maybe 3/4 to Model Y. In other words, if 3 and Y combined sell 4 million vehicles per year, maybe 1 million or so Model 3s, and maybe around 3 million Model Ys. Nobody, and I mean nobody, apart from Elon and a few crazy folks like myself, believe this is possible. The whole reasoning by analogy, well, no other vehicle models ever sold more than about 1 million. It's not possible that the Model Y could sell 2 or 3 million. Oh, and just a quick aside, because I have to point out when I'm right about stuff. It's what I do. No point making predictions if you're not holding yourself accountable, right or wrong. My Patreon supporters will already know this, at least those of you who have access to my full Tesla valuation model, which is available to everyone on Patreon at the investor supporter level and above. Click the card in the corner or the link in the pinned comment to join. Will have already seen my own estimates for the market size, the total addressable market for the Model 3 and Y combined. Let's see how close I was to Elon's own estimate of 4 million units per year. Now, I hate to be that guy. Just kidding. I love to be that guy. 4 million. Look at that. From my own valuation model. Feel free to fact check me. If you're on Patreon, you can download it now. You can look at one of the archive copies that's been available for close to a year now. Model 3 and Y combined sales capacity over the long term, 4 million units per year. Now, you might notice I've blurred a few things out. Not going to give it all away. It's like promoting your OnlyFans with some hardcore videos. Why is anyone going to sign up? But in all seriousness, I do want to point out that as a Tesla stock investor, this is the kind of shit that you should be doing as well. Figure out the total addressable market for each of Tesla's future models, the average selling price, the base price, and then work out in total, in theory, how many of this model, that model, and that model could Tesla sell, and what does the revenue for those sales look like based on an average selling price over the long term. Of course, I know most people watching haven't done this. I'm just being honest here. Most people are pretty lazy, but if you really want to understand Tesla and the opportunity, this is the kind of level of detail you need to go to. Now, my estimate could have been wrong, could have been completely off the mark, but it's interesting, it's curious that Elon and I have both arrived around the same figure. It's almost as if anyone who actually takes the time to look at the global automotive market, the different segments, SUV versus sedan, do some thinking, and I really do mean some thinking, look at some actual numbers and infer a few things, that it's possible you may actually land on about the same mark as Elon, or Tesla, or myself, which means it is actually possible to deduce things about Tesla's future sales, the total addressable market, even before Tesla themselves have said anything out loud about what they plan or believe is possible. But I know it's a lot of work, so thinking hurts, let's not do any of that. And for those of you who don't have access to my Tesla valuation model, as I said, it's available on Patreon, view-only mode available for everyone at the investor supporter level and above, and there's an editable version as well if you want to download the whole thing, my editable valuation model with all the details, all the numbers, all the assumptions which produce my price targets is available exclusively on Patreon to supporters at the baller level and above. Or just do some thinking and build your own model with your own assumptions. But this is important to understand because we've now heard for the very first time Elon has said out loud he believes that 3 and Y combined could sell 4 million units per year. And I personally believe he's right. Exactly right. Same estimate. Fancy that. Obviously it was a fluke.
And S and X will top out at 100,000. Just because the affordability drops off exponentially with price. So as price rises, you basically, the number of people that can afford an S or an X, it doesn't drop by a little, it drops by an order of magnitude. Mm-hmm. Like a doubling of the price will drop the affordability by a factor of 10. As a rough rule of thumb.
I feel like I've heard someone say that before, repeatedly. Something about a linear decrease in price causes an exponential increase in demand and vice versa. Can anyone remember where we've heard that before? I feel like I've heard it many times in the past, and it's actually really important to understand if you're a Tesla stock investor. Remember, cost of EVs is plummeting over time. The battery costs are plummeting over time, predictably, following a predictable declining cost curve. Then there's also the actual cost to produce the products themselves. Following Wright's law, cumulative doubling in production will result in a relatively predictable decrease in the total cost. If you run the clock forward a little bit, you realize that if this is true, wait for it, this is the important part, in X amount of time, give or take about a decade based on my own estimates, it will cost Tesla approximately half what it does today to produce a vehicle as compelling with as many features and functionality and comparable performance as the current Model Y and Model 3 at their current prices. Think about this for a moment. Let's just say that I'm right. By the end of this decade, give or take, Tesla's producing a vehicle as good as a Model 3 or Y, but the price is halved. Now, we did hear Elon just point something out. As a rule of thumb, halve the price, 10x the demand. Now, I really want to make sure everyone watching is actually following along and the implications are truly sinking in. Like I said, this is some important shit if you're paying attention. So let's put our thinking caps on for a moment. If the price of, let's say, a compelling vehicle comparable to a Model 3 or Y halves, and Elon's rule of thumb is right, 10x increase in demand, are you good at doing math? Well, if you're not, let's put it this way. Tesla's goal of selling 20 million electric vehicles per year in 2030 isn't a goal for the total number of vehicles they'll sell in a single year, and that's the ceiling. No. This is just a marker along the way to even greater annual sales. Now, I'm going to say something that's likely to get me laughed off the internet, but the good thing is I don't really give a flying f*** if people are laughing or not, because I know who ultimately will be having the last laugh. At some point in the future, it is actually possible that Tesla could be selling 30 plus million vehicles per year, or even, I'm going to say it, 40 million. Now, I'm not saying this will happen, but I'm just saying use your brain, do some thinking. Okay, what if the price does actually halve? What happens to the addressable market? How many vehicles could be sold? Is there a limit to the size of the annual global automotive market? Is it necessary to replace around 2 billion ICE vehicles today on roads with electric vehicles? If that's the case, wait, what's 2 billion divided by 20 million? What about 30 million? What about 40 million? These are the kind of questions you should be asking yourself and attempting to answer as a Tesla stock investor.
Is there any additional thing that we can continue to do? I mean, we tried our best with the solar taxing. I mean, it's probably hard, even like I'm like asking you, like, how can we help? It's kind of a weird, it feels like a weird question, but.
Well, I mean, the public support is certainly appreciated, and shooting down FUD is always very helpful.
You're welcome, Elon.
I mean, in the grand scheme of things, though, if you ignore sort of the Sturm und Drang and say just like, okay, well, is it actually causing us to sell fewer cars? It doesn't seem to be. So then why should we care?
Demand is not an issue.
If you're a regular viewer of the channel, you'll have heard me discuss this at length. Elon mirrors my thoughts directly. Tesla's demand is insane. Until such point that Tesla's production can get close to matching demand, there's absolutely no point for Tesla to direct any resources, however minuscule, toward countering FUD to have a press team, a media relations team, it's absolutely pointless. Now, don't get me wrong. It'd be a tiny, tiny, tiny investment. A few people on $100,000, $200,000 a year dealing with this stuff. No problems. Maybe $1 million a year in salaries, maybe $2 million at most. But that's $1 million or $2 million that Tesla could be putting to better use. And they're an extremely resourceful company. Tesla, I think, as Elon points out, is also aware there's plenty of people, folks out there on Twitter, YouTube, and elsewhere who are actively countering a bunch of FUD, meaning Tesla doesn't need to. If people truly care to get to the bottom of something, they can find the answers. And those who don't, those who gobble up everything that they're fed by the fake news, I mean, the mainstream, wait, same thing, and believe things that are untrue, big fucking deal. For every one of them, Tesla's got a handful of customers willing to wait over 12 months to take delivery of their vehicle. Not a big deal. Now, I want to be clear, at some point in the future, when Tesla can finally produce enough vehicles to actually meet demand, it may be worth having another discussion about this. But until then, Elon points out the FUD really isn't causing much damage. Now, it may be doing damage, but it's not about whether or not it's causing people to not buy a Tesla and turning them off the company or the brand. Instead, question of, is Tesla selling every single vehicle they make? If the answer is yes, and they're not even close to having that change, well, who fucking cares? Let's move on. Oh, hold up, Einstein. I know you're about to tell me in the comments how at some point in the future this will matter because all the damage caused by the FUD today will cause consumers in 10 years' time to not want to touch a Tesla because they heard things 10 years ago and they still believe them. That would be true. That would be fair, except for one slight problem. Let's talk through this. I have explained it in the past when I've addressed this, but I just want to save you wasting your time in the comments because you're going to make an idiot of yourself. I could be wrong, but here's my belief. Here's what I believe will happen. Over time, as Tesla goes from having, let's say, 2 million vehicles on roads to 20 million, to 50 million, to around 100 million, which could be anywhere around the end of the decade, maybe mid next decade at the absolute latest. At that point in time, you'll be hard pressed to find a single person on the entire fucking planet who hasn't had direct first-hand experience with a Tesla vehicle or, at the very least, has a very close friend, family member, or colleague who owns a Tesla who's ranting and raving about it. My point, much like today, everyone knows Apple makes great products. Even if people don't buy them personally, everyone knows Apple makes great products. You want a great product, buy an Apple. You'll pay a premium for it, but it's going to be great, okay? I mean, they sell headphones that cost more than 3 hours with your mother, okay? Obviously, not everyone's buying these products, but everyone knows universally they make great stuff because everyone's had experience. Same point with Tesla. All those people who in 2017 or 16 or 19 or 2024 heard FUD about Tesla, oh, I'm not touching one of those. They fucking kill people. I hate them. Worse, Elon's terrible. Oh, he hates free speech. He's a threat to democracy. 10 years' time, when Teslas are everywhere and everyone's ranting and raving about them, most legacy automotive manufacturers have gone bankrupt. Tesla's autonomous robotaxis are everywhere. You're going to be hard-pressed to find anybody who hasn't had direct experience and realized, they're not as bad as I heard they were on the fake news. I might buy one or use one. This is how I think things play out. I want to be real clear. Short term, the FUD does actually have a genuine impact. Some consumers are like, I hate Tesla, I hate Elon, this stuff's dangerous, whatever, never touching this product. But at some point over the next decade, they get first-hand experience and realize, these are good. I might get one or use one.
I mean, frankly, a bunch of the pieces trashing Tesla, especially like 2017 through 2019, the press was just a non-stop hate stream. It was like, hate, like Tesla's a fraud, Tesla's a failure, Tesla's a fraudulent failure. Tesla, they were like, thumbing through the thesaurus for like bad words to use. It was like insane.
Now, I know many people watching are relatively new Tesla stock investors, but I just want to make sure everyone gets this. Elon isn't exaggerating. This is an accurate descriptor of reality. There was a period of multiple years, getting close to half a decade, where almost everything in the mainstream media and the mainstream finance media was anti-Tesla. Not only anti-Tesla, but fake, false, misleading, almost entirely untrue. It was endless. Great buying opportunity, and I'm very thankful, believe me. It wasn't until late 2019, coincidentally around the time I started this YouTube channel, where the FUD finally stopped having an impact on Tesla stock. And I don't mean no impact, I mean far less impact. It broke out big time, more than a 10x in the span of about a year. So I personally believe the FUD had a significant impact on Tesla's stock price over that period of time, but absolutely no impact on Tesla's execution, which is the thing that actually matters.
you just like click on like the phone, like the stock app ticker, and I remember like for 3 years straight, it would just be like headlines just trashing Tesla, just over and over and over again, and our sales went up. So I'm like, okay, yeah. So I'm like, I guess keep trashing us, there's like this. All press is good press. There's some truth to that, Yeah. So I mean, our goal right now is to get to zero interventions in point-to-point drives in cities.
Yeah.
So the polish is less important than solving for zero intervention point-to-point drives in cities. The sheer amount of work required to do this boggles the mind. And to the best of my knowledge, I asked the team, like, do we know of anyone who is even trying to pull in us footsteps? We don't know of anyone.
So if you've been paying attention and taking notes, I'm sure you just paused the video and rewound and wanted to listen to that again, right? No, I know you didn't. I know you're just here for entertainment, maybe a little bit of information. But Elon just pointed out that Tesla, their team, who would know, don't know of anyone else. I want to really underscore this. Tesla does not know of anyone else copying their strategy. Take a moment to consider the fact that of all the companies attempting to solve autonomy, there's only one following Tesla's strategy, Tesla. This, to me, indicates that either Tesla are wrong or, yeah, you guessed it, everyone else is wrong. How do you think this one ends?
Maybe there is someone, but I've seen a lot of tough technology problems, and solving real-world AI such that a car can drive itself is one of the hardest problems I've ever seen. And it is way harder than I originally thought, by far. It's very easy to get close to it working, and where it feels like it's just, all right there, just a little further, and it's like the donkey with the carrot overhead. It's like, oh, that's right, just keep, just pull the cart a bit further and faster. If you pull the cart faster, maybe that carrot's going to come closer. And frankly, having radar and ultrasonics was a mistake, radar especially, because radar allows you to get close to solving it and solve it most of the time, except when you can't lock the radar and the visual neural net. Radar and vision disagree which one is right. And so you basically have to get rid of the radar. And once we got rid of the radar, which by the way was initially strongly opposed by the autopilot team, and now nobody wants the radar back. Is that right? Yeah. I had to lay down the law and say, like, that radar's coming out, man. You can't. That radar is a crutch, and if you're carrying that crutch, you can't run.
This is a super important topic. I covered this at the time. We learned that Tesla was removing radar from their hardware stack. Immediately, this screamed to me, extremely bullish signal. They're now confident enough to rely on vision that they don't need the fallback crutch of radar. Of course, most of the mainstream media interpreted this as Elon Musk trying to kill people by saving money, remove this radar, which is necessary. People are going to die. F*** you, Elon, you're so dangerous. I hate you. But a few people that kind of understand what Tesla's approach is to solving autonomy thought, oh, this is really good. If they don't need the radar, that means that vision's getting even better. This is really good. James Dowmer and Dave Lee discussed this in detail. However, it's not the fact that Tesla was confident enough to remove radar that's the kicker. Instead, it's the fact that they were far enough along the process of solving autonomy that they realized that having a clusterfuck of unnecessary sensors is just going to produce less accurate, less safe results, and therefore radar needed to be removed. Not only that, but Elon had the wisdom, the courage, and the confidence to make this decision despite massive pushback from the autopilot team itself. Even some of the so-called experts at Tesla were opposed to removing radar. But Elon understood what's going on here. The point I'm making here is until other companies who are attempting to solve autonomy, who have a cluster of different sensors, start deleting stuff like radar and LiDAR, until they're far enough along to even have that realization, you can see how much further behind Tesla they truly are. I'm telling you guys. Outside of commercial applications of robotaxis in pre-mapped geofenced areas, if we're just talking about a generalized solution for autonomy, there's only one effective solution, pure vision. That's not to say that there can't be some benefit from radar, and maybe once vision is so good in the future, it may actually make sense, and I know this sounds contradictory, but stay with me here. It may actually make sense to reintroduce some of these additional sensors for superhuman capabilities. Maybe radar can see through a snowstorm when a human would have to pull over. Maybe that'll be useful in the future. But until such point, until companies go, yeah, you know what, we realize LiDAR is actually not helpful. We're getting rid of radar. Until you see this, you realize how much further ahead of the so-called competition Tesla really is. These other companies haven't even figured out yet. They're not even far enough along to have figured out that they're getting a lot of noise from their radar and their other sensors, and it's causing confusion. Most companies today, if you go look at an autonomous company on their website, them bragging about their technology, it will look something like this. We have 69,000 different radar sensors, 420 different LiDARs, 42 trillion different cameras, 69 quadrillion sensors in total. We have the best solution, more sensors, more technology, more everything, more data, we win. This is the wrong approach. Remember, humans drive with 2 cameras and a neural net.
Radar was contributing more noise than signal at the end of the day. It's not that it wasn't contributing signal, but it was more noise than signal, and so it had to be removed. And once radar was removed, then it became clear that actually our neural nets are much worse than we think they are. So they were being helped by radar too much. So now just having to use vision, you can't hide behind anything. The vision has to work. The neural net vision has to work. And then there was quite a profound change to go from bag of points neural net to having a neural net interpret that bag of points to figure out what a lane center is. The neural net architecture is insanely complicated. this point. It's like, that's a lot of layers. And then it'll turn out, oh, actually we need to delete this layer, put this layer on. And like we've re-architected the neural net so many times. The Tesla Autopilot software AI team is like the best software team I've ever worked with. I'm a harsh judge of technical skill, and they are outstanding. It took a while for us to get there. We had a lot of false starts with the Autopilot team. At the end of the day, like the streets were designed for eyes and biological neural nets. That's what the entire road system was designed for. So therefore, it makes perfect sense, frankly, that cameras and digital neural nets are required to solve self-driving. You basically have to repeat what the humans do, but in silicon. And nothing else will actually solve it.
This is one of those things that just does my head in. There's some people that get this. There's some people that don't get this. And there's some people that don't get that there's anything to get in the first place. Allow me to explain. Let's make this really, really simple. There are literally hundreds of millions of examples today of camera-based systems, dual cameras in most cases, 2 cameras attached to a biological neural network that do a relatively decent job of driving vehicles. Not perfect, over 1 million people dying in traffic accidents every year. It's a tragedy, but hey, it's a start. If we reason back from this point, clearly it's at least possible for a camera-based system tied to a silicon-based neural network to at least reach the same capability. But oh, hang on a minute, computers can react faster and process. So theoretically, just 2 cameras and a neural network, silicon or otherwise, should be able to get to at least human level and then superhuman level capabilities for driving vehicles. We have literally hundreds of millions of examples of this system already working pretty well. They're called people, humans. This seems the obvious approach. As we know, the entire road network is designed for a camera-based neural network vision system. Why then is Tesla the only company that's attempting to solve this very complicated problem by using a technological solution that we are aware can work, and everyone else instead? I mean, honestly, this is the thing that it really does in my head, and I don't get this. Why the fuck is everybody else trying to take a different approach? I'm just kidding. I know exactly why everyone else is using a different approach. They're scared. They're concerned that they're not actually going to be able to solve vision. And fair enough, it's a pretty difficult challenge, as we've heard from Elon Musk. But here's the thing. It is the path. It is the solution. Because these folks, just about everyone else attempting to solve autonomy, don't have confidence in their ability to solve vision. And vision, when I talk about vision, I'm talking about perception, planning and action based on that vision. That's why the neural network's important, not just the cameras. They're not confident enough in their ability to solve vision. They're scared, they're worried, they're concerned. Therefore, their fallback position is, oh, well, since we're scared and don't actually think we can solve the obvious solution, vision, neural networks, and nothing else, we're just going to add a ton of useless sensors because we're scared and we want to make sure that we don't miss anything, so use that as a fallback. This is a dead-end approach. But they haven't realized that yet. Now, in fairness, not every company using a ton of useless sensors is doing so because they're concerned that they can't solve vision. Some of them are so fucking dumb they don't realize that they need to solve vision. They actually think that their approach is going to get them to the end destination. Keep in mind that the hundreds of millions of examples of vision-based systems attached to neural networks in humans have many shortcomings that won't be true of a silicon-based neural network tied to a vision system. What do I mean? Well, let's give an example. We, humans, have recently descended from the trees in evolutionary timescales. Our neural network, while driving along and our 2 cameras are paying attention to the road, out of nowhere, at least if we're male, something catches our eye and we think, I'd really like to mate with that. Next minute we crash. Not going to happen to a silicon-based neural network with cameras, at least until it becomes sentient. So, all other things being equal, it's obvious that a camera-based system tied to a neural network at some point can become superhuman in terms of capabilities. Won't get distracted, can think and react faster, can process more data, more information. And this brings us back to the entire point. Why is it that Tesla is the only company who's figured this out? It's so obvious that this is the path to solving autonomy. Yet Tesla's the only company taking this approach. Everybody else is trying to outsmart 1 billion plus years of evolution. Oh no, we've got a better solution. No, we'll add LiDAR and radar and that'll be heaps better. Because we've got hundreds of millions of examples of that system working, right? Oh wait, we don't, but that doesn't matter because we're really smart and obviously it's going to work, right?
I mean, Tesla's actually, going to be in the situation where Tesla has a self-driving solution and no one else is even close, not even for 5 years.
Stop the fucking press. You were paying attention, right? That's in your notes, right? Elon Musk just said that he believes that Tesla is going to have at least 5 years from the point that they solve autonomy before anyone else catches up. At least half a fucking decade. With the most important technological transformation of our generation. Now, of course, Elon could be wrong, but play along at home. What if he's not wrong? What if he's right? How does that end? I've already explained how this ends. It's also in my Tesla valuation model. Again, Patreon, card in corner, link in description. It's all there. Tesla solves autonomy years before anyone else. And they continue to improve. It gets safer and safer and safer. The march of the nines, going from 99.99999% to 99.9% for safety, blah, blah, blah. It keeps getting safer and safer and safer and safer. At some point, everyone who's been going the whole clusterfuck of sensors approach realizes, oh shit, that was a bad idea. If only some arrogant, obnoxious dickhead on YouTube had warned us years ago, maybe we wouldn't have gone down this path. But now we're in trouble, because if we start from scratch with a pure vision-based approach, we're going to be back where Tesla was in, I don't know, 2021. And then we'll need to be even better and smarter and faster at doing the same thing that took Tesla years and years and years to build to. That's not going to work. We'll go bankrupt trying. What do? Well, we don't want to be selling vehicles that don't have this software, because we're going to have blood on our hands. There'll be data and evidence, statistics showing that we're killing 10, 15, 20 times more people than Tesla's vehicles using their autonomous software. That's bad. Investors won't like us killing lots of people. What do? And obviously the answer is quite inevitable, which is also in my Tesla valuation model, and also something that Elon's about to comment on further. And one quick note, I personally do believe that autonomy is a winner takes most market. In other words, being the first to solve autonomy with an unassailable lead would be, let's just say, rather advantageous to the tune of trillions of dollars. Literally.
Licensing?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. We're not going to stop people from doing it. It will need to slap them in the face, like, baff. It has to be taking sales away from them. I mean, anyone who has that you guys have the beta, you've seen the trajectory of improvement.
Yep.
It's very clearly going to achieve full self-driving.
Yeah.
It's just a question of there's some debate about when.
Yeah.
But if you say, like, what is the rate of improvement per unit time,
Yeah.
you can say this is clearly going to get to a point where it's much safer than human. We're going to get a lot of sort of complaints and FUD and whatnot from competitors about autopilot because they have no answer to it. And they're not, like, thrilled about the idea of, like, licensing it from Tesla. That's not like, oh yeah, let's give our competitor a ton of money. Yeah. It's not the no one objective.
Fair and accurate, but the super hilarious thing here is this is already happening. Tesla's so-called competition is already literally paying them billions of dollars a year to make new factories, to make EVs, to put them out of business via zero-emission vehicle credits. This is going to be another instance. I've said it before, it's in my valuation model. Tesla will license their FSD software. This is inevitable. No one's catching up. It's the only logical solution. These companies aren't going to want to be licensing Tesla's software because, as Elon points out, they're going to be paying Tesla tons of money. But there's no other way I see this playing out. Here's an interesting way that this could actually work and be viable. In fact, Tesla could almost force other automotive manufacturers into licensing their full self-driving software. Let me explain how. Margins on vehicles are collapsing. Nobody apart from Tesla, few exceptions within China, but let's ignore them for now. No one apart from Tesla is profitably making EVs at scale. All the legacy automotive manufacturers are losing money on their EVs. So are all the EV startups. If that's the case, plus Tesla just has better value, more compelling products, how can they possibly level the playing field? And in addition, how can they possibly stay in business selling vehicles they're not making any money on when Tesla can produce them cheaper? Spoiler alert, autonomy. How does this work? Here's what Tesla could do. Tesla could give a very, very generous offer to other automotive manufacturers. Look, you charge the same rate for our autonomous software that we charge, and you get to keep half the profits, and we'll take half the profits. Now, suddenly, these companies who are making no money on their vehicles and can't sell them anyway because they don't have the same features and functionality, they're not the same value for money as a Tesla vehicle, can suddenly offer autonomy. Tesla's autonomy. Now things get interesting. In addition, if Tesla's generous enough with the split, maybe it's a 50-50 revenue split, these companies would be insane not to take Tesla up on the offer. Yes, it means that Tesla's getting half the profits. But for Tesla, there's no additional cost, tiny bit of time for a few software engineers to tweak based on the cameras in these things, but basically this is almost pure profit for Tesla. And now suddenly these automotive manufacturers can offer a software package that can produce many thousands of dollars of profits per vehicle sold. Now I know this sounds kind of insane, but this is genuinely how I think things will play out. The only way for automotive manufacturers to survive is to either solve autonomy, good luck with that, unless you're Tesla, or to license autonomy from someone who has solved it, which obviously that's going to be Tesla before anyone else. And in doing so, if these companies actually do agree to license Tesla's FSD software, suddenly their consumers are going to be more interested in buying their vehicles. Oh, I can get Tesla Autopilot in this other vehicle. I like this brand more than Tesla for whatever reason. I'm going to buy one of these. And now these companies know that they can be making thousands of dollars of profits on the vehicles that today they're not able to make a cent of profit on. This is a very strange situation in the business world. It's fun to watch unfold, and this is my bet for how things play out. Tesla solves autonomy. Other companies start licensing from Tesla because they don't have any choice, and they still all mostly go bankrupt anyway.
No one is pursuing a pure vision, AI approach to this, which also requires like a massive amount of labeling, like custom auto labeling software, a massive array of training computers. It's not just the in-car software; it's all of the training and labeling and debugging software that we all wrote. We wrote all that too. Like it didn't exist. The sheer amount of software Tesla's written just in software tools and debugging is insane. Like auto labeling is in and of itself a massive thing.
Yeah,
because
it's huge. Yeah,
and we have like I think 1,500 human labelers.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
but they're amplified probably by a factor of 1,000 by the auto labeling.
Okay.
At least a factor of 100.
Wow.
So it's more like having 150,000 labels.
Right. Exactly.
It's a lot. When we started down that autopilot path, I was actually told, somebody said like, oh yeah, well, there's like, somebody had said like, well, you're not going to get no praise for the whatever 90% of people you save, and you're going to be sued by the 10% of people you don't. So this is a thankless task.
Another very important point: vision, courage, and the understanding that it's about doing good, not appearing to do good. What other company on earth, what other automotive manufacturer would have the balls and the courage to pursue a strategy knowing full well over the course of time that would save hundreds of thousands, ultimately millions of lives, but along the way would have lawsuit after lawsuit, hit piece after hit piece in the media, distortion of the facts, tarnishing their reputation, trying to damage or bankrupt the company? This is what true leadership looks like. This is what true courage looks like. Something sorely lacking in most other companies on the planet, not just automotive manufacturers. Elon and Tesla know along the way they're going to get their fucking pantsuit off. Tesla cares so much about doing what's good and right, they're willing to take the heat. Can you imagine an automotive manufacturer, a bureaucratic clusterfuck, say for example like Volkswagen, having the courage to deploy autonomous software knowing they'd cop the lawsuits? No fucking chance. They don't want the bad press. They don't want the bad PR. They don't want the perception of doing bad. So it's not only that Tesla has the right technological solution, but also the courage, the vision, the integrity, and the heart to do what's right.
Yes, exactly. So it's like, but at the end of the day, I think we just have to put this before a jury and say, listen, you got to believe statistics here, because it's like the end. If this is like, I think highway safety is like an order of magnitude safer than people, and it's like these are not small numbers here. You just say objectively how many crashes were there. Oh, it's 10 times fewer. Okay, So like then the company that massively reduces deaths and accidents should not be penalized for the few that do occur. That's like, that would be super messed up. Like if there was like some factory that just produced great software engineers, like you just order I would need 100 great software engineers, then no problem. But there isn't. Like there's a very small number of great software engineers. A bunch of the ones that I know who are great got rich and stopped working. And I know a lot of very capable people, and once they got rich, they just stopped working. Their life, but they stopped coding, and they just, I don't know what they do, actually. Like a bunch of them say they invest and stuff. There's a lot of really capable people who are semi-retired that I know. I'm just like the weirdo who's like, I still working like a maniac because I'm just wired that way. But most people I know, they get past a certain amount of money, the amount of work they do is much less.
Elon actually makes a great point here. Bit of a paradox, right? The better you are, the more capable you are, generally speaking, and I am generalizing here, the sooner you're likely to achieve financial independence. If A, it's a goal, and B, you're actually capable and not a complete and utter moron. This is a bit of a problem because the best people, in terms of capability and their ability to add value to the marketplace, tend to add an enormous amount of value and then reach financial independence super early. Then they face the choice. Should I continue working my fucking face off? Or should I take it a little bit easier? Most people tend to take the easy path, and nothing wrong with that. I mean, bro, I retired in 2018, so I'm not one to talk. On the flip side, the more wealth Elon Musk has, the harder he seems to work. It's a shame Elon's the exception to the rule. Let me know in the comments below if anyone watching has achieved financial independence, and if so, what did you do? Did you immediately stop working for good? Did you reduce your hours of work? Did you increase them? Are you working harder now than you ever did? Did you have a change in career, a change in direction, start a business, try something new? And for those of you who've yet to reach financial independence, what are you going to do when your Tesla stock is worth many millions of dollars? And you too have solved the money problem. What's the plan? What are you going to be doing? It took me a while to figure it out. I thought I'd retire and I'd never work again. Turns out that wasn't true. I just didn't enjoy what I was doing. As soon as I found something I did enjoy, shout out to this YouTube channel. Not doing it because I need the money, although, hey, I'll take it, but because it's extremely fulfilling. So this is an important question to ask yourselves. What are you going to do when you don't need to do anything. I hope you guys and girls have enjoyed this video. As I said, link in the description of the full interview. This was full of gems, and I mean gems if you'll only take the time to listen, pay attention, and think through the implications. And just finally, many of the things that Elon Musk discussed today, including his estimates for Model 3 and Model Y combined volumes of 4 million units per year, the fact that Tesla will license full self-driving software in the future, all been sitting in my Tesla valuation model now for the better part of a year. For those who don't know, my valuation model is what produces my Tesla stock price targets. My price targets for Tesla stock are available to all Patreon supporters at all levels. Check out the card in the corner or the link in the pinned comment to join. And if you want access to my Tesla valuation model, that's available at the investor supporter level and above. So I'll see you over on Patreon. Or you can just wait until Elon says some more things that I've already got in my model. I'm just kidding. Or am I? I'm Stephen Mark Ryan. This is Solving the Money Problem, and I love you all. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoy these videos, there's a bunch of ways you can support the channel, access exclusive content and perks, and get some free stocks and crypto. Check out the links in the pinned comment below. You can also pick up some Tesla, Elon, and investment themed merch in the merch store. If you want to take it to the next level, join thousands of members on Patreon to gain exclusive access to over 100 Q&A videos, loads of exclusive content, exclusive access to my up-to-date 10-year Tesla stock price targets, and even access my Tesla valuation model at the investor support level and above. So check out the links in the pinned comment below, and thanks for your support. And if you're still watching, you're awesome. I read every single comment on this channel, and I really appreciate your feedback. So if you've got any thoughts on today's video, questions, comments, or suggestions for a new video, let me know in the comments below. Check the cards on screen now to browse the merch store, join Patreon, or watch the next video.